this episode of What's Groovin'? Is Metal-Earth and MU competing for a space race? We take a look at Time for Machine and see what's going on in the campaign as well as some of the retired models. Is it time for more machines? Metal Time is ready to release the Myriad aircraft. And did Robotime just release a wooden AK47? These are all great questions. Let's dive into it. Hey everybody, and welcome to What's Groovin', the show where we talk about all kinds of cool stuff happening around the net. I'm your hostess, Swordly Cone. This is the Needle-Matic that just appeared behind me. Let's dive into the internet. Starting with Metal-Earth, we're looking at two new models, one of them from the Avatar movie, the other one the James Webb Space Telescope. Now, if you've been following Metal-Earth for a while, this is a model that a lot of us have been looking forward to for a long time, and to finally see it here being released soon is really awesome. Let's take a closer look at the James Webb Space Telescope, why don't we? I'm having a hard time wrapping my tongue around that one. This looks really good. They have a good use of the brass here on top. Also, if you take a closer look, they didn't actually just use silver metal. They actually used painted metal. It looks really cool. Let's see if we can get the 360 view here to work this time. Nope, it's coming soon. I need to be able to read things a little bit better. Do me a favor there, Needle-Matic. Just try to make things a little clearer for me. Thanks, buddy. Now, we look a little closer here at some of the other pictures that we do have. We can see here from the side angle that there's a bunch of colored detail. Nothing too extravagant, a little bit of red here, but the actual silver itself is matte, which I do like. So we know that this metal tends to be a little bit thinner than the traditional metal we're used to with Metal-Earth models. So if you're a veteran, you're coming into the newer stuff, when you see this, you might have a little bit of a different experience than you're used to. Not necessarily a bad thing, but something to be aware of. When we look at some of the other details here, it actually looks like there's a lot of hidden details and a lot of layered details that we might not necessarily see at first. This might be actually a pretty challenging build, just taking a quick little gander here, especially with all this underneath detail, as well as some of the pieces here along the top. Trying to keep all of our metal bars straight will definitely be an interesting part of this build, and the plates too. They look like they're slightly bent upwards, so there's probably going to be a likely chance of warping if we're not careful too. Very cool stuff, but I really do like the amount of detail that's gone into this build, and I can understand why they've taken so long to release this. They really do try to do their best when it comes to space models and the details they can replicate. Overall though, this model really does look awesome, and I think this is definitely one we're going to be adding to our collection as soon as it releases. Let's see if we can get some more information on this. Taking a closer look at this, it doesn't seem to actually be a premium series build. It seems to be a normal size build, so that's kind of interesting. I would have expected this one to be a premium series just because of what Metal-Earth's been doing lately with all their models. We can see here it's going to be 2.75 sheets. It's going to be about moderate difficulty, so maybe some of those smaller details won't be that hard. We got a 4.13 length, we got a 2.75 in width, and 2.75 in height. So yeah, not an overly big model, and I do think this will be an interesting one to add to the collection. Let's go over to MU here, who's also releasing some space models. Now, one thing that's kind of interesting with this is that you can see the new space model here. It's this little space station here on the bottom right, but unfortunately when we go and click on it, we can't get any more information about this. However, we're going to jump over to our friends over on Instagram and see if we can maybe pull up some more information over there. Alright, now that we're over at Instagram, we can take a better look at this and some of the details that they are allowing us to see. Now, if you're not familiar with MU, it's a great brand that has a ton of different models out there, and a lot of the models they do have are highly detailed. So seeing these space models here are really exciting too, because they kind of introduce things that other metal model companies haven't really tried out yet. So again, you'll see here by what I mean when we look through the pictures. Looking at this though, right away we can see a ton of detail. This is definitely going to be a detail heavy build. Let's see if we can go around the spaceship here and get a better look. Yes, there's tons of venting detail, there's definitely hatching, I mean there's tons of little boxes too and little kind of circular details all the way around this. This is going to be crazy. I love the pictures they were able to pull off with this too. There's definitely some photoshopping done with this, but overall really nice. Is that a wire? I think that might be a wire. That's funny. Not bad, guys. Not bad. I really like it. Love the lighting as well. That lighting really makes it stand out too. And you can see how it has that plastic base. I assume all of this is going to be coming with the kit. And again, judging by that base there, this is going to be a pretty substantial model. I can see this being definitely in the era of the premium series line, if you will. And we can get a better look at the details here. Look at that paint. Love it. This is some great stuff. Honestly, MU, great job. I love the little wire details. You can even see them going all the way around there. That's going to be a very, very crazy model to build. I mean, even look at the etching and little, oh man. I mean, just take a look at that. That hatch looks fantastic. I can't believe that they're able to pull this stuff off with these little metal bits. Like, these guys really do push the edge of 3D metal model details, and I love MU's work for being able to do this. This spaceship looks fantastic, and again, I really can't wait to add this into our collection. Flip it back over. Yeah, we got a really interesting little kind of hub device here for the Neat-O-Matic, in case you didn't know. This is not an iPad. It might look like one. It's not one. Now for Time for Machine. If you've been paying attention to my Instagram stories, you know that Time for Machine has been retiring some of their older models. At first, it was just the dazzling Steamliner, but then the Marvel tank also joined the ranks of different models being retired. Now, this is a pretty interesting concept, as we really only seen Metal Earth retiring different model sets, and because these ones were kind of the flagships of both Kickstarter campaigns, it begs to question what's going on at Time for Machine. After our last episode, I reached out to Time for Machine and they let me know that some other models are actually going to be retired too, but not to worry that there's going to be some other ones replacing them, and that if you've invested in the Kickstarter campaign, to let you know that they have shipped all of their models. Now, we've heard this before from Time for Machine, but I'm going to take them at their word at this point because they told me directly that they have shipped them. So anyone who's out there who's expecting to get your models, please try to rest assured that your models are on your way. At least this is what was told to me. They know that I was making this video, so I kind of find it hard to believe that they would be lying to me. So I guess you guys can rest assured, if you've invested in the last campaign, that you'll be getting your models very soon. Now again, taking a quick little look here at the Time for Machine website, I did want to kind of pop over into their metal models category real quickly, just so you guys can see some things that are discounted. I know last time we talked about the medieval hockey game being discounted. I won't be surprised if that one ends up joining the line of retirement as well. Going down the line though, here we can see some other really cool models that they do have available. Seems to be a lot of these are actually a lot more affordable than they were before. One of the biggest turnaways for a lot of people when it comes to these bigger metal kits is how expensive they are. So to see them come down in price a little bit is definitely cool. Again, we can see the two little things I was talking about before here, the chicken train and the scorpion car. These are definitely neater, smaller options, but finally getting down to the bottom here, we've talked about these ones before, but they are really only offered by Time for Machine, and that's of course the remote controlled 3D metal models. These are super cool. Yes, they are super expensive. They're all in that $300 range, but again, these are completely controlled 3D metal models, super neat. I would love to see other brands take a stab at this, like Metal Time or even MU, and on a really far off world, I think Metal Earth would do a really cool job with it too. But again, this is only offered from Time for Machine, so if you're interested in this guy, definitely check them out. These are definitely neat models, but again, being that high in the price range, they are definitely something that only a smaller group of people will really be able to get their hands on. Also, that watch looks really cool. And with that being said, let's jump over to our friends at Metal Time. Now, these guys also have done a Kickstarter campaign. I reached out to them to see what's going on with that, and they have let me know that all the models have shipped, and also they are doing a ton of updates there over on their campaign. One thing I really love about Metal Time and their team is that they are really into the 3D metal model hobby. These guys are really into this. They love hearing the feedback. They take all their feedback very seriously, and they monitor all of the social medias. These guys are on the Reddit boards. These guys are on all the Facebook groups, and they try to cater to us, which is super neat. And that's one reason why I'm kind of a big promoter of these guys. They don't pay me anything. They have actually sent me some really awesome models to build, but outside of that, I promote these guys because I truly like them. I think they're a great company, and I want to be able to support a company that really cares about the community itself. I don't need to go too much into a tangerine about that. I've done that too many times before. But that being said, these guys are sending me a really awesome awesome Marriott aircraft to build, which I can't wait to build here with you guys on the channel. This is going to be one of the biggest Metal Time builds we've ever done, and it also has a ton of really awesome features that no other metal build has ever had before. This model is just absolutely crazy. It has so many different bits to it, and the details that they have are just incredible. I can't wait to put this together and get some really awesome pictures. I got so many different things kind of going through my head, and of course to be able to do this and build it with all of you guys is really exciting too. I mean, just look at this. The front end opens up just like the real one. This is so neat. I can't wait to get my hands on it, and I'm also excited to see how Metal Time has improved some of their metal. I've been hearing that they've actually etched out some of their stuff where before they didn't have any etching in some of the first generation things, and I'm also interested to see how their mechanisms has evolved too. These guys for the most part have done a great job with all of their mechanical models, so I know something big like this is really kind of hard to do. So will these guys be able to pull off this big mechanical job? I don't know, but we'll find out together. Let's move on over to the Moyu store, where they've released some pretty interesting models. They got 3 new ones for us. They got the Easter Bunny, they got a shark being operated on a unique platform, and they have a spider. Now, this spider looks absolutely awesome. Let's take a closer look at it together. And there's one thing I do actually want to point out before we go back. Let's just go back here real quickly. Just take a look at the dragon there, $299. But then take a look of the next 3 models. We got $79, $89, and then we got $66. These mechanical models are typically a lot more expensive, like that dragon there. So to see these price tags is really interesting. Let's take a closer look at that spider again, though. I really do want to take a look at this and see what's up with that. Look at that back. I wonder if that's actually part of a 3D metal kit. It kind of looks like it. It looks like there's even tabs on it. I know they're bending outward, but look at the mechanical pieces here. The whole thing looks absolutely awesome. I love the details. The springs really look good too. Of course, the lights look awesome. I love all the LEDs. Anytime they add LEDs to a model, we all know it adds a coolness factor to it. And of course, a spider. I mean, I just love all the details here. I love how it can move around. I'm wondering if those springs actually move as soon as you open it, or if that's just for looks. Looking at the back here, it looks pretty neat. Each of these legs are done well as well. These pictures, they really went out of their way to get every angle they possibly could. Super neat. Going back out here, we can see that the spider is 203 pieces, and it looks like it's mostly CNC metal, so it should be pretty easy to put together. When I think about all the builds we've done from the Moyu store here on the channel, the ones like our dragon here on the table, yes, the bones of the dragon are still spattered about my table. The dragon here, these guys are a lot harder because they use traditional hardware pieces to be made, where these CNC ones are made to go together. They're specifically made for these kits, and because of that, they tend to be a lot easier to make, or at least easier to put together. Now, that is the spider. Let's go back out and take a look at that shark real quick. I'm interested to see what's going on here with this giant mechanical shark. I'm loving the whole combination between the whole hardware and metal model kind of type look there. It's interesting, the solid sheets of metal, if you will, especially on the face there. I love that point too. This shark actually looks pretty badass. It almost looks like a little missile, and this little stand here, it's like an operating table, looks really neat too. Overall, again, a really neat piece, $109. I'm wondering how many pieces this is. Doesn't really say. It's only a 3-star build, so it's not going to be that hard. It says an hour-and-a-half assembly time. It's mostly made out of steel alloys. I'm not seeing any pieces here, though. I can't imagine it being too many pieces. I would imagine it's probably in the 200 category like our spider. Might be a little bit more, might be a little bit less. But overall, I think this looks really awesome. I think they did a great job designing this one. With that being said, my friends, let's head over to Robotime. Now, Robotime has released some pretty interesting models over the years. We've actually only built one model from Robotime, and it was actually one of my first wooden models here on the show, and it was one of the first Robotime builds that they had released when they only had music boxes out. These music boxes were kind of a mixed bag. Some of them were made better than others, mostly down to quality control issues. I would love to revisit Robotime, and I might do it with this really awesome AK47 that they've released. They've also released a really awesome music box. We'll take a closer look at that one as well, but let's take a look at this AK real quickly. You guys know that I love rubber band guns. We've built a couple here on the show. We've also built some wooden bullet guns too. Those are really interesting, but this one, looks like almost a full-size AK47, and I'm really interested to see how this thing works. It looks like it has a pretty interesting mechanism, and no, it's actually not full scale. It's a little bit smaller than full scale, which is a good thing. And we can see here it kind of goes together in layers. It also comes in one of the bigger boxes like we saw with the rifle that we built here on the channel. Overall, we can see a length here of 28.34 inches, and we can see a height of 8.7 and a total kind of thickness, if you will, of 2.2 inches. So yeah, not a bad little piece there, and something I would definitely like to get my hands on. I'm interested to see actually how this goes. I mean, for $40, it's not a bad kit, especially if you like those whole mechanical builds, if you like to see how those things work. I'm just really interested to get my hands on this guy. We also get a little video. Let's take a look at it together. It's automatic? You guys made an automatic. That's amazing. Yes, thank you. I would love to get my hands on this and try that out. That looks like a ton of fun to play with, especially with the fact that it has that 3-round burst. Absolutely awesome. I'm curious to know how many rubber bands actually fit on this, though, being that it's only loaded over the top. So if you have 3 rubber bands, I mean, in the video there, it looks like it fired about 6 shots. So that looks about maybe like, you know, somehow you can get 3 around that wheel, maybe multiple times. I'm not too sure how that would work, but in my head, I can only picture about 3 going over top before you run into problems. So I'm super interested to see how this works. I want to get my hands on it, but you know, these guys have also been releasing some other interesting models here. If you guys aren't familiar with the whole bookshelf series, this is an interesting kit that's been released. I've kind of showed them on the show before from other creators. They have some really awesome details, and because of their actual length there, they get a really nice depth of field to them as well. Being that they're books, they fit nice on the shelf, and you can paint them and make them look nice. I've seen a lot of people on Instagram going the extra mile with these and really making them stand out. I believe there's a couple of different ones here offered, so if you're interested, I definitely recommend taking a look at these and trying them out. You never know. If this is not something you're used to building, this might be a nice little break from your typical average build. Now let's go back here one more time. Actually, we're going to do this twice, and we get to take a look at this little guy here. This is something that I find very interesting, and I'm just going to go ahead and see if I can scroll down here and find the videos so that you can understand why I think this is interesting. Really cool mechanism in this one here. That's the magic cello, and it of course has some kind of music box attributed to it. This is a very common thing for a lot of the Robotime things to have in them, but I think it looks super cool with that unique movement of the bow going across the cello. I do believe I may have shown this before, but I really want to bring attention to this because Robotime seems to be stepping up their game, and with prices like this, $35.99, I mean, you really can't argue with it. Alright Groovers, that brings us to the end of our show. I had a really good time talking about all the cool things around the internet with you, and if you guys had a good time, don't forget to press that like button. For more stuff just like this, head on over to our Instagram page. We have all kinds of neat stuff that we post there every single day, including art from you, and if you want to be able to share your stuff, just make sure you put the whole hashtag Groove Builders. It makes it way easier for us to be able to find you. If you also want to see more videos like this, press subscribe as well, as we got all kinds of cool content coming on in the future, and I would love to have you there, including builds that we're talking about right now on the show. Until next time, Groovers, keep building.